Everybody's chasing those 15, 20, 25% yield ETFs, and some of them are not created equal. Some of them are actually not really earning as much as they're passing out, and so what it is doing is eating up into the NAV. Now in today's video, we're going to be talking about 7 different income ETFs with zero NAV erosion. Now, not all of these have been out for a very long time, but I've kind of taken a look at all of these based upon some other criteria, looking at some NASDAQ 100 ETFs, some S&P 500 ETFs, some Russell 2000 ETFs. I've looked at international ETFs, energy ETFs, and even some wildcard. So we're going to be taking a look at these. We're going to be talking about these. We're going to be diving down into 7 income ETFs with zero NAV erosion and seeing if these could be a part of your portfolio. Alright guys, let's get into it. Let's dive in. This video is purely educational content. It should not be considered personal finance advice. I'm not a licensed financial advisor and I don't know your financial situation, risk tolerance, or even investment goals. Past performance doesn't guarantee future results, and always do your own research and consider consulting with a qualified financial professional before making any investment. Alright, let's get on to the video. Hey guys, my name is Steve and I run the Frugal Expat website where we try to help people to save more and invest better. Today, we're diving into 7 income ETFs with zero NAV erosion. Now, not all income ETFs are created equal, and some of them are tracking different indexes, different sectors, and having a piece where maybe some yields are way higher than others, or maybe total returns are much higher. Now, I wanted to be honest with you guys. I took a look at a lot of these in stock analysis versus some competitors. Like, there's several NASDAQ 100 great ETFs, like a QQQI, GPIQ, and even TDAC. And so I wanted to take a look and see which one could be the best one of the 3, or even the best one out of these. And so I put these into a list. Now, we're also going to be diving into some of the percentages and yields at the very end to see how much money you could be making per year with this portfolio. Alright, let's dive in. Now, what is NAV erosion? First of all, NAV is the net asset value, and when an ETF is given out more in distributions than it's taken in, it's creating NAV erosion. And at that point, the price is going to continue to fall as it's giving out way too much money. There is a thing of return of capital, and a lot of ETFs are returning some capital to defer taxes down the road. But if you're returning way too much capital and not bringing enough in, your NAV is going to start to erode. Now, several different ETFs out on the market have done this, and it's really wrecked some people's portfolios. But a lot of ETFs that have the net asset value continuing to go up are good ETFs and allowing them to grow for the future. So that's just a little bit of difference between NAV erosion and possibly of, regular downturns. As regular downturns do happen, like a QQQ may go down with the NASDAQ. You guys may have seen this in the last couple months as chip stocks go up, then they go down, and then the S&P 500 goes up and it goes down. That just happens in the way of the market. But we're going to be diving into these 7 ETFs, so let's get to it. Let's dive in. Our first ETF is going to be TDAC, which is the Tap Alpha Innovation 100 Growth in Daily Income ETF. Now, this ETF is from Tap Alpha. It's got an expense ratio of 0.83%, meaning it costs about $83 for every $10,000 invested. Now, the reason I picked this ETF was I put it against a GPIQ and a QQQI. Now, GPIQ and TDAC are very similar in their total performance. TDAC has a total performance of 24.27 since its inception, and GPIQ since the inception of TDAC is sitting at a 23.68%. Now, TDAC has about a 16.98% yield versus a GPIQ, which has got about a 9.3, 9.5% yield. So TDAC is going to win in this category. Now, TDAC, what they do is they use zero DTE strategy on the NASDAQ 100. So they are selling 0 days to expiration on the NASDAQ 100, and so they're going to be selling a call in the beginning of the morning, and they're going to allow theta decay to happen and then close it out later on in the same day, and they're going to continue to do that every single day. Now, a lot of these contracts could be 1256 contracts, and so that could have some good preferable tax treatments as 60% long-term capital gains and 40% short-term capital gains. It's going to have some good ROC, anywhere between maybe a 85, 90 to almost 100% return of capital. So it is going to be some pretty good tax efficient ETF. Now it's got a pretty good yield, like I said, 16.98%. Very good total performance, and this one could be a good one to add to your portfolio. You can also add GPIQ or QQQI, but for this portfolio, I am going with TDAC because it's got the best total performance and also the best yield out of the 3 NASDAQ 100 ETFs. Alright, let's get on to our S&P 500 ETFs. Now our next ETF is going to be OVL, which is the Overlay Shares Large Cap Equity ETF. Now OVL is from Liquid Strategies. It was created in 2019. It's got an expense ratio of 0.79%, meaning it costs $79 for every $10,000 invested. Now what this one does, it's a little bit different than the rest of them on the list because it uses a put credit spread strategy. So it owns 100% of VOO within the portfolio, and then it's going to sell a put credit spread on the SPX, which is the S&P 500. Now, what it's doing, a put credit spread is going to sell a put at one strike price and then buy a put at a lower strike price. So it's going to have a capped downturn, but it's going to have an uncapped upside. So if the S&P 500 does soar during bull markets, it's going to make some pretty good money because you have uncapped upside. Now, I compared this to a SPY and a GPIX, and what I found was this ETF with the uncapped upside, it was crushing it in total return, and the total return number was 43.47% versus a SPY and even a T-SPY, which was sitting at that 34, almost 35%. And so it was doing much better in those price ranges, and so that's pretty good. Now it does have a 10.29% yield, and that yield does fluctuate, so it's around that 10%, and it pays out monthly. Now it's a little bit different because in the past OVL's paid out quarterly, which had a lower yield. Now in 2026 it has a much higher yield and it pays out monthly, so that's good news for those looking for more compounding ability with this ETF. Now with that uncapped upside, it is continuing to soar, and that's good news for those that are investing in it because you're getting some good price appreciation. You're also getting 1256 contracts with OVL and 100% ROC, so it's very tax efficient, great upside, and it's also getting a pretty good yield of around 10%. So this one is a great one to hold in your portfolio. I hold it in my portfolio, so I like it. All right, let's get on to maybe a Russell 2000 ETF. Now our next ETF is iwmi, which is from NEOS. This is the NEOS Russell 2000 High Income ETF. Now this ETF has been around since June of 2024, so around 2 years. It's got a very good yield of about 14.5% yield, which is pretty good. Now it does hold VTWO, as in the Vanguard Russell 2000 ETF, as its portfolio. It sells 1256 contracts on the RUT, as in the Russell 2000 index, and creates those 1256 contracts like that 60% long-term capital gains and 40% short-term capital gains. It's got a pretty good return of capital, anywhere from 85 all the way up to 100% return of capital, and it also has about 2,000 different small cap companies. So if you're looking for some small cap exposure to your portfolio, iwmi is a great ETF that you can add. Now it's got an expense ratio of 0.68%, meaning it costs about $68 for every $10,000 invested. And so if you're looking for some good income, I mean the yield's pretty good. If you're looking for some great portion of your portfolio to be into small caps, iwmi is a great one. Now some other ones that you could consider could be like an OVS from Overlay Shares, or some other small caps. Well, iwmi is probably one of the more famous ones, and OVS is probably a second tier pretty good one. Now, OVS has been doing pretty good. It's got a 10% yield, and so that could be one to add to your portfolio. Right with this one, I have picked iwmi. All right, let's get on to our next ETF. Hey guys, if you really like this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And if you really want to do your own research, like I do, use stockanalysis.com. Stockanalysis.com has been my go-to recently for looking up different ETFs, different stocks, seeing like the dividend yield, seeing how they do in total performance, price performance, and seeing how they match up with different ETFs. This is a great place where you can start doing your own research. They have maps, they have charts, they have all sorts of things to get you going. Now, I'm gonna leave a link in my description and my pinned comments, and also a great promo code to save you some money. Check out the promo code and see which one you may want to join, and let's get back to the video. Our next ETF is OVF, which is the Overlay Shares Foreign Equity ETF. Now, this ETF is the same family as an OVL. So what they're doing is they're using that put credit spread strategy. With this ETF, you're gonna have two different ETFs a part of this. You're gonna have IEFA and IEMG a part of this ETF. And what they're doing is they're selling those put credit spreads on the SPX, the S&P 500, in order to create income for this portfolio. Now, this portfolio is yielding around 10.43% at the time of this video, and it's a pretty good ETF to add to your portfolio. Now, I did kind of look at it versus like an IDVO, and in the past, IDVO has probably done much better because it had a really good 2025. Now, over the long term, OVF has done pretty good as well. Now it's got a 10% yield, so it's got a better yield than IDVO. And so right now, I think OVF could be a much better ETF for this portfolio. Now, it does have an expense ratio of 0.83%, giving you about $83 for every $10,000 invested. And so that's a part of it. Now, if you're looking for some internationals, you can look at an NIHI from NEOS, you can be looking at an IDVO from Amplify, but here in this portfolio, we're using OVF. And so that's the one that is going to be doing pretty good for this portfolio. All right, let's get on to our next ETF. Our next ETF is going to deal with energy, and that is MLPI. Now, MLPI is the NEOS Energy and Infrastructure High Income ETF. If you guys like MLPs and like the income from MLPs, MLPI makes it just a bit better. So first of all, MLPs have those nasty K1 forms. But if you just want a 1099 to make taxes even simpler, MLPI is a great one to hold. Now, MLPI does track an index with MLPs, and it's got a part of its portfolio. Now, it's going to have a yield of around 14.7%, but it's going to range, but that's the one that could be in your portfolio. Now, MLPI came out in December of 2025, so it hasn't been around so long, and you could have looked at maybe an HCal from Amplify or even a XLEI from iShares. But right here, MLPI is the fan favorite. It's got a pretty good yield. It's got a pretty good total return over the long term, which is beating out some of those other ones. And so this one is a great ETF to add to your portfolio. Now, a part of this portfolio, you're getting a pretty good 30-day yield of a 3.37. Plus, you're getting the distribution of about 14.48%. So that's pretty good news if you ask me. I mean, it's giving you some of those 1256 contracts. It's giving you some great ROC. It's giving you some of those MLPs into your portfolio, and you have a little bit of piece of the energy sector. So this is a great one that you could add to your portfolio. All right, let's get on to our next one, which deals with some special metals. Now, if I had a choice of some gold or silver, I was looking at different ETFs, as in like a KGLD, KSLV, and an IAUI. Now, the one that stuck out most was IAUI. Now, IAUI in the last 3 and 6 months has beaten out both of those curve ETFs in total return, and it's also got a pretty good yield that matches with a KGLD. IAUI is the NEOS Gold High Income ETF. Now, in 2026, it won Best Actively Managed ETF And with this one, you're also getting an 11.79% yield. You're getting a very good total return compared to the others. And you're also getting some exposure to gold. Now, it does track an index and it gets 1256 contracts, and so that's good news to you. You're getting that 60% long-term capital gains and that 40% short-term capital gains. It's also getting some good ROC, and so this could be a great ETF to add to your portfolio. Now, it does have some gold into it, and it's also got some treasuries a part of this, and so it's kind of a mixed bag of a lot of different things. But if you're looking for a gold exposure, you're looking for income, iwmi could be that ETF to kind of give you that exposure to some special metals. Some other ETFs, like I've mentioned, is KGLD, or it could be KSLV, or even KCOP, which is done to copper with curve. All right, let's get on to our next ETF. Now, our next ETF is kind of a wild card, and that is SOXY. Now, SOXY is the YieldMax Target 12 Semiconductor Option Income ETF. Now, this ETF is a special ETF. It tracks semiconductors. Now, most people are going to want maybe a chippy, or they may not like chippy and they may not like YieldMax. They may think that YieldMax could be trash. Well, the difference between SOXY and chippy versus some of the other YieldMax ETFs is they actually own the assets under management. Now, with SOXY, the reason I picked this one versus a chippy is because over the long term, SOXY has beaten chippy in price return. It has done about 128.99% versus a chippy, which has done a price return of around 66%. Now, chippy does have that 30 to 40% yield, and it pays out weekly, but SOXY is targeting 12% distribution rate, and it pays out monthly. And when everything does hit the fan and it's not producing as much income, SOXY is probably a better ETF to hold in your portfolio because it targets 12% and it doesn't have to worry about trying to produce 30 to 40% yields when that income is not coming in. Now, chippy could have a potential of having some NAV erosion. That's why I picked SOXY for this no NAV erosion income portfolio. Now, you guys may disagree with me, and that's okay. Let me know in the comments about your disagreements. But with SOXY, you're also getting a pretty high expense ratio. I believe it's a 1.06%, making it about $106 for every $10,000 invested. Now, this is a pretty good one that tracks about 15 to 30 different semiconductor companies, and if you like chips, like I do, this could be a great ETF. Actually, the price return is actually beating SMH year to date, and I love SMH. So if you're looking for some good income on the semiconductors, well, SOXY could be that ETF for your portfolio. Now, I just went over 7 different income ETFs with no NAV erosion. And the cool part is, if you took all those yields and blended them together, you get around a 12.86%. Now, I know that I mentioned that like OVF has about a 10.48%, but in this scenario, I put about 10%. I mean, because it does fluctuate from time to time. And so you're getting a 12.86% on this portfolio. If you were to invest $200,000 into this portfolio, giving each position equal amounts, you would get about $2,144 monthly, or $25,726 yearly. So that's a pretty good income if you ask me. I mean, if you're looking for maybe some retirement income, you could put in $200,000 into this portfolio, and you can have a little piece into different sectors, and you can have pretty good, about $2,000, maybe a little bit higher per month. So that's not so bad. If you invest $500,000, you get about $5,360 per month, or $64,314 per year. And so that's the potential of what this portfolio could do. So if you're looking for some extra income with some ETFs that have no NAV erosion, that's pretty conservative, that gets you exposure to NASDAQ 100, S&P 500, some international, some small caps, some energy, some metals, and even a wild card. This 7 income ETF portfolio could be a great portfolio to start it off with. $500,000 gets you about $5,300 per month. $200,000 gives you around $2,000, and so this could be a great one to start your portfolio. All right, guys, let me know if you like some of these picks, or give me some of your own picks in the comments. make sure to check out this video up here of my income portfolio. Alright guys, I'll see you guys in our next video.